Well, hello, lovely listeners, and welcome viewers. Today I have the wonderful Jim Gandolf. Jim is from Indiana. He is a man of many hats by the looks of it. Jim is new to my world, but I've been introduced to Jim through the World Martial Authority. And for those of you that have watched the previous podcast I did with Honorable Lee and General Belton, that is the same organization. Jim has also written a book called 500 Miles, the book. And I asked him if he'd written any more. He went, not a chance yet, because that took me 7 years. But it sounds like a fascinating read all about motor racing, because that is Jim's real love, I think. That is very close to his heart. Been in the motor racing world a long time. And you still are involved in that, and you find sponsorships for, or you found sponsorships for the racing, but it's still something that you're very active in. More recently, you obviously are with the World Martial Authority and you are head of banking and finance. And you also do, I know you do more for other people as well in terms of banking, I think for your family and other people as well. You have a dream to bring the Indy car to car racing, sorry, motor car racing to Europe. You'd love to do it in England, Italy, and Spain. Um, I'm not a huge motor racing fan, but I know millions and billions of people are. So that will excite a lot of people, I'm sure. Um, so welcome, Jim. Thank you for being here today. I know you're an incredibly busy man, and I'm really excited to learn more about what you are doing for the WMA and with the WMA and obviously around the world. So thank you for being here.
Well, you're welcome. I really think that, in a general sense, that uh, I I like the whole idea of the World Martial Authority. It was brought to me when I had an idea of building homes for the underfunded families. I don't like to say poor. And it came to me with an idea in a strategy meeting at Deutsche Bank in Europe. And I was with the Bank of England, and I had a conversation that I would like to build 1,000 homes in each state in the United States, uh, anywhere from 1,700 to 2,000 square feet with a two-car garage. And from one basis to another, uh, I was introduced to Lee Clegg, and he went over the structure of what we need to do. And I said, okay, well, let me try to work all this out. And then it got into digital currency, it got into vouchers, it got into how everything worked. And I sat down with some of my top bankers that I deal with on a nightly basis, and everything started to move forward in a positive light.
Well,
So,
let's backtrack a little bit. So you were in banking anyway,
yes.
and how did you initially meet the Honorable Lee?
Well, it was a nice meeting. A lady by the name of Linda heard my plan of building 1,000 homes in each 50 state in the United States, and I structured it. Uh, I mean, it was quite a big undertaking and how much money I had to raise. And I transfer in the oil business. I'm in the gold business. I transfer certain things. I make a commission out of that. So I register those commissions instead of giving it to a church. I decided to give it towards something that we can structure and build. And Lee helped me plan that. And that from that point, we worked together on planning how to do that. And then it came to building flats in England. It came to building houses tied into the United States, and then what we can do in other countries. And then we took the same formula and we started to build off of that, uh, to take care of people. And it's starting to gain an extreme amount of pull. And that's where we met, Judge Chief Justice Belton. And everything started to formulate towards a positive manner. It's all about the numbers. and how you structure things. If you do not structure things properly, banks will pass and it won't get through their legal department. So I have a partner that helps me structure things properly the way I need them properly so we can make the introduction and make them work.
And where did your
So
where did your desire come from to want to build this housing for people that were a bit disadvantaged?
I had a dream. I was sitting there, I was like really exhausted because I work all night in banking in China, Europe, all over. And then during the day, I get the racing stuff together, and I have a family. So I had this, cubicle all my time to where it could be productive. And that's where we planned it. So I had a dream. Uh, Voice came over to me and said, Jim, I want you to build 50,000 homes in America. And I laughed a little bit and I said, well, I don't even know how to build a doghouse. What are you talking about? And I do have a sense of humor. And so I went to my uncle, which is the Bedford Knights, and I said, hey, I had this dream. He said, don't look past this dream. You know, ask for structure, ask for this. Everything came to me on how to build these homes, what companies to use, how to go about it. I met some wonderful people in the way. I met Lee, I met Belton, I met just about everybody to make this successful. And now we're in the transformation of planning everything, of introducing this whole system through racing and motorsports. It's going to be quite awesome at a racetrack when we give a house and a car away at every race, a
Mhm.
World Marshal Authority, all this other stuff, everything that comes in track with it. I think racing has lost the Big Bang Theory. I think just like every kind of sport, soccer has a great unbelievable thing. And everybody has got me addicted to rugby in England. So I love rugby. All these other things that most of our families came from England to the United States. And they have, there's just a gap there of education and so forth. So I would like to bring that in full focus. We are the original, the Great Seal of Pesavando and the original tribe of actually the colony. So it's great to have that connection and banking between Europe and here because ever since 1983, I have been in banking on a major level, creating the lines of credit to purchase fuel, not only for gas stations, but for crude oil, creating that gap to where the channel becomes easier. And I used the racetrack as a kind of like a chamber of commerce meeting to where, the refinery executives and the gas stations, everybody can communicate if there was a problem. And if there wasn't a problem, then everybody had a great time. But if there was, facilitating those problems. So I had to learn to become a customer service agent. I had to get the bankers there in case there was a banking problem. So literally, I started at 18 years old in banking and not being a teller in banking and not, just facilitating the right paperwork with the right people. That's the job I've had.
How did you get into that at such a young age? Because I mean, are you one of those people that's got a proper left brain logical mind, very good at mathematics?
Yeah.
You're one of them, are
Mhm.
you?
Yeah, calculus, all that great numbers. It's like, it's hard for me to read and all this other stuff, but numbers, it seems to be a very good balance for me. And what Chief Belton brings to the table is the justice arm. So if there's a malfeasance in banking, we take them to court. We handle it. We've got our own court. We've got everything. We don't have to deal with because he's his own government. A lot of people don't understand that, but it allows me when they're treating an individual wrong and I balance it and I see it, well, it allows me to go after corrupt individuals like a judge or an attorney firm or whatever. We serve them. They're done.
So, so
So
excuse my ignorance here. I have asked you this, but I'm still not putting the dots together. So
okay,
you were in banking, and
yes,
then you had a dream for 50,000 houses, and
yeah,
and then a lady called Linda introduced you
yeah.
to Honourable Lee. Now,
Uh-huh.
apart from that introduction, were you in that world of the world is everything is subverted, perverted, inverted, the world is not as it seems, it's corrupt as hell. I want to do something different. And then because there's a lot of people that could have invested in your dream, but not
I don't want investors.
right.
The
Okay.
reason why I don't want investors is because there's enough money, and Chief Belton has that funding. It's just structuring it properly. I didn't want to go in front of a church and say, "Oh, I have a great idea," or a bunch of people that really don't understand the actual mechanics of dealing with each county, each state, each city government, and it's highly confusing for people to try to understand. And everybody likes timelines. Oh, it's not done right now.
Yeah,
Well, I don't have the patience to be a customer service in those type of areas. So what I've done is I've decided to take lines of credit, buy, sell them, build the funds up, create ways to build ways to do it. And that's when the World Marshal Authority put the actual fuel on the fire. They started giving me the tools to become successful and to do what I'm doing. But our main job is not only, and then we had the pandemic. Are you
I was
kidding
going to
me?
say, how
We're,
long ago was this? Yeah.
yeah, then we come into the pandemic. And are you kidding me? People, it was against the law in England and it was against the law in the United States to evict people. But somehow, complete nonsense people decided to do so. And well, let's just put this in perspective. That's another one of my jobs. I'm going definitely after all of them. So we're creating those balances. They have broken the law. I've looked at some of these cases while I'm in the study of it. I'm like going, how did that state allow this? You know, because you have law firms, which they're good at telling their side of the story, which is not true. And the poor individual does not have that weight or that power to help them.
Yeah.
So these law firms and judges created a malfeasance to evict people. And they went off of what they thought, well, I'm the judge, stamp, galley, you're evicted. Well, where are these people going to go? They have no jobs, they have nothing. It was a complete sham.
Mm.
So that's what I'm also focusing on, no matter if it's in England, no matter if it's in the United States, or it's in Canada, or it's in the area where uh, commander tells me or the chief justice tells me. I am not afraid to serve anybody for their corruption. So I got that from racing, I think. It made me bold to stand up for myself. So I look at all the things that people have done to put an anchor on people to where they can't move forward. And everything's balanced in the way that needs to be structurally sound. It needs to be sound for the people. It needs to be sound for government. It needs to be sound for the people representing everybody. You just can't make up something and say it's true as a law firm. And then the judge says, well, these lawyers said it. Uh, and when an individual gives the evidence that it's not, then it becomes a banking malfeasance. It becomes, look, there's two things here, and nobody wants to listen to the other individual. They just go after, oh, I went to, I went to Oxford, I went to Harvard, I went to all, I'm the law lawyer. Forget about it. You're lying. A lie is a lie. You can't get away from that,
Yeah.
no matter who or what you represent.
Yeah.
So we served the paper and they owe money after that. So it's on record.
Okay.
So,
So you'd already started the relationship with the World Martial Authority, then the pandemic hit.
oh,
Um,
yeah,
so have you already created some of these 50,000 houses now?
ready to. We already have put the structure together. And you had to have a system. I did not want to hire a construction company for all 50 states. Um, I wanted to go into the county clerk's offices of each one of these cities, and tell them and work with people that are already licensed within that community and have developed a relationship. We are in the process of starting to purchase the property to develop it. You have to have the asphalt put in, the drainage, the power to each unit, each one of those, and the idea of community is in action. And you had to stop the corrupt people for saying, "Oh, I'll get you one of these homes if you pay our firm. We'll get you in front of the World Marshal Authority." So we had to set all the rules and the balances up. And really, it's not based off of people's credit; it's based off of their job. If they've had a job for 2 years and if they can show they can pay the utilities, it's just $500 a month plus, taxes and insurance. That's it. It's
Wow.
very simple, very simple. And it's not towards any of that. So,
So when are you hoping, like, are you doing all states at one go or one state at a time? How are you doing it?
well, we've got a system where I'm going to have, and I'm probably going to use the wrong term here. It's going to be kind of like the property management type of situation to where somebody covers each state and they're going to be paid well for that. And then they're going to manage the draws that we have set up with a technical firm and our own technicians to where each state has a certain budget and we're going to build around within that budget. And I mean, it's basically, and it's every day right now. It's coming down to a focus to buying the property, going in with the credit, buying the properties, dealing with title companies. We're dealing with two title companies right now with a six-state area. These are going to be homes for these people. I don't want to turn over a $330,000 home and a brand new car, and they think they're going to turn around and sell it 2 days later. No, they have to have residents there for 10 years.
Right.
Or if their job changes them, well, guess what? We will find them a new house where they're going to be in that other city where their job moves them, and we will assume and help them with the house that they have. We'll take over everything. And we have realtors in each state that we're going to be signing on, kind of like a realtor club, kind of, but they're going to use their license and the mortgage companies, everything that's going to be a part of this. This is truly going to be their homes.
Okay. It sounds wonderful, and I look forward to hearing some progress on that in the future. So
Wait to
so
do it
you,
in England. I think it's going to be fun in England.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, I just can't wait to go visit. I'm going to come there in about a month and hang out with Lee and get in trouble.
Hey.
So I want to go to a rugby match
Well,
somehow.
well, you do
You
know
know,
he's in Wales, not England.
well, I love Wales. You know, I call it England, so nobody gets mad at me. So, you
Okay,
know,
so that's how Honourable Lee and the general came into your world because you'd had this dream, but obviously now you're working with them within
yeah.
martial authorities. So what does that look like? Because they came into my world, I would say 4 weeks ago now, something like that. And the
And then,
the language that's spoken, especially from general, is a bit like, whoa, what did you just say? And it's a lot to get your head around. So
yeah,
one of the
it was
things
very intriguing,
it
and I
is
got
very,
very excited about it.
yeah,
And to know that you have that kind of support from those two individuals, and literally thousands of marshals, thousands and thousands, and a lot of countries are signing on, and it's common law. It's beautiful. It's the balance of the people. Um, Once you create a lie, no matter if it's a lawyer lying or a judge accepting the lie, there's responsibilities towards that. I mean, people vote people in office now. I think people are tired of even politicians lying.
mm,
So why not take it to the people and give them the justice they need? And that's what Belton and Lee has created.
yeah. So how does your role now work for them? Because I've heard about the Turon,
Yes.
I've heard about vouchers. So what does that look like in the real world? So um, obviously currently we're in this fiat system, which is all about debt. We know it's as corrupt as it goes. How how do the vouchers and how does the Turon, if you can sort of explain it in really simple terms, how is that going to work in a world that
Well, it's going to be balanced. Here's how we are going to use the let's use the housing situation as the term.
okay,
And let's really think about this. Our technicians are creating a wallet to where people's paycheck can go in, and the mortgage will be paid with $500 worth of Turon. They'll get a car and that. They can use their other means as opposed to the utilities, whatever, however we connect that, and that's how the bankers and I are working together to create that structure. So you're going to go and you're going to buy, and nobody can really steal your money with this because it can be pulled back. You're completely foolish if you think you can steal anybody's Turon coins. We have a system to where, oh well, okay, well, boom, we'll take it back, and it creates a balance, taking the criminality and the safekeeping for your house. When you go home and you relax and you got to cut the grass on the weekends and have a good time with your neighbors, it's peace. It's so we devised a system to take the Turon coins to pay for your house and your car, and that's how we're setting it up because we're paying for the houses up front. Then they turn around and they pay their mortgage or their $500 a month for through Turon coins. It's going to be a balance of 50,000 families paying us every month through the Turon coins going in and out of the exchange that our technicians have developed. Uh, it is beautiful, the harmony that's going to be balanced. There's a balance of the cash that we make from trays and other stuff that's going to go into the balance to uplift the coin even further. So there is just a strategy that is just second to none. And for one reason here, we are the only digital currency that is assured and bonded. There is no other coin out there that has a surety and it's bonded through Belton. So, and the tribe. So you got to really look at this. It is completely his own uh, Federal Reserve and Treasury for the tribe based off the land that he has.
based off the land that he has. So you said you've obviously been in the banking world a long time,
Long
and
time,
and you are in correspondence with the banking people that
yeah.
can listen to have this conversation, understand it, and deal with it. But
Yes.
for us simpletons, let's say I don't know, I get the housing thing, but let's say I wanted to pay my mortgage with, or I wanted to pay it off with a voucher or some Turon coins or something like that. How would that
It,
work in the banking system as it is now? Because we know it's obviously not for the people right now. How does it work? Are you having people within certain banks that are open and amenable for you to do this? Because I'm still trying to get my head around it, and I think a lot of people would struggle to understand. Well, hang on, we all have to pay with either our dollars or our
Let
pounds.
me help.
Yeah.
I kind of think I know where you're going here.
Okay.
So if you can look at exchange of any currency, like when I do so much business in Europe, and they send money to me in euros.
Yeah.
Or if I'm dealing in England, it's got to go through the system and it goes to pounds. And then I want to transfer it back to the United States, it gets stands to into US dollars.
Yeah.
Well, the same type of atmosphere happens with the Turon coin. So we will exchange those Turon coins once they go through their system and end up in each individual homeowner's account. They will send us Turon coins and we will do that. We will give them Turon coins based on how much money they have. Like, say, for instance, you're paid bi-weekly. Most people are paid bi-weekly. So if you want to pay $250 out of your check for 1 week and the 250, we are not going to be restrictive on people on how they pay it as long as they pay $500 a month. So we've also created a balance to where the exchange is really not the worry of the individual. There's two things that's happening here for the consumer. The house is already paid for. The mortgage system is what we demand back as a Turon coin. They take the Turon coin, then they give it back to us, and it's an exchange the same way as it would be a dollar. If you take $1 and you say it's $500, well, you need 500 of those $1 to pay it. Well, it's the same thing with the Turon coin. You understand that? It would be boom, it's transferred. And in all reality, on all the blockchains, everything else, all these digital currencies out here are not assured and bonded. They're out there. People think, oh, wow, this is a great coin, but there's no stability. Our assurity behind it, if it drops down to nothing, it's going to be bounced back up the very next day, $10. It's not going to go below $10. But right now it's at $21 a coin. So it's just understanding the balance of a surety. Like if I was going to take a financial instrument to the market in London and HSBC was going to buy it, they're going to ask for the assurity. So I would have to go to Lloyd's of London and buy a policy off of it, and I would have to take it and and handle the situation. It would be a certain value. That value would be sold on the market, and I would take the cash to trade. I don't know if I'm making any sense. It's just something I do every day. So I'm just trying to make it simple.
Yeah.
Um,
So you're saying, so obviously the Turon is assured and is bonded. So,
yes,
and what that means, you just said then about going to Lloyd's of London and buying a policy to have an assurity.
yes,
Is that as simple as it is? You need a policy for
yes,
something to be assured.
yes. And we have that. We have all that. We have a bond. We have an 8-page bond. We have all that. The sureties based off of our transactions and our history. We are really how do I put this? This is so structurally sound. It's amazing. And it took Lee's brain and Chief Belton's brain. And then while they were talking, I said, well, wait a minute here. This is what I need to do. Let's put this together. And look, it worked. Everything is so positive, and we have great technicians. We have a great trustee. We have our inner core to where nobody can create a problem. And if there is a problem, we can fix it. So that's what I'm positive about.
So these Turon coins, they've already been used to buy stuff.
We're in the process of handling that right now. I have several things that it's being interchanged and twined, and we're in the process of buying houses in England and houses in the United States. We're running a test through a wonderful title company. We're running a test through certain states that, hey, look, we're purchasing homes and taking this. And, there's enough information on the Turon that it has enough liquidity inside of the coin. It became uh, the tribe's actual currency, and it's recognized worldwide now. So,
And a very throwaway, simple question. Could anybody set their own currency up?
oh yeah, anybody can, but you have to show the balance of what it's backing it. I had certain people say, "Oh, Jim, I have all this gold. I want to create my own currency." And I said, "Well, go ahead, go at it. I'm in the banking world. I'm not in the crypto world. I just decided to take the crypto world into the banking world to where it makes sense on exchanges for banks to make a profit as well as the consumer to make a profit, as opposed to keeping the middle people out. And everybody understands that it's a trumped coin. It's based off of how much debt that people run into. We are there to help them as well. So, even if a company that has 1,000 employees and all of a sudden you see in the news it goes bankrupt, what?
Yeah.
Well, that's when Lee and I sit down at the table and we start strategizing. How do we go save that company? We're not there to destroy anything. What we are there to protect people. It's their livelihood. That's their job. We want to go in and save the situation. And of course, we get Belton's approval after we put everything together. So, and he adds things once we get everything together.
Yeah.
So,
So, I mean, you just said you're not in the crypto world. I was going to ask you this question, but you might say, oh, I don't know.
well, I kind of am now, but I started in the old traditional, you know, 1700 types of banking thing, from lines of credit, moving it back and forth for to purchase goods and services over international waters, and making sure the balance is there. Um, it's quite once you're into that, it's very hard to get out of that mindset. But once I started understanding what the World Marshal Authority was doing, it created balance. It actually enhances shipping companies. It actually enhances um, the actual guarantee of payment, as opposed to nowadays, when you wire a certain amount of money, it's held up for months or weeks, and you're going in between countries, and you're like, you got to float that time frame before the transfers, and that becomes very difficult for people to understand. And what the World Marshal Authority creates is that balance of, okay, well, this is going on, that's going on, and it allows you to everything's all separate, and it allows it to bring it together to where it makes sense. And it's very hard to explain without details
Yeah.
because those are private information. So we have to be very cautious of the people and the clients we have. But it's understanding that uh, in a minute here, uh, currency is basically easier to transfer through a digital situation as opposed to traditional banking.
Okay.
That's where I woke up to where it became easy for me to understand the balance. You kind of
Yeah.
with me on that?
Yeah.
You just go ahead and try to send me $10 to my bank account from England and watch what happens.
Mm.
I'll see it 3, 4 weeks later.
Yeah.
You know, with Bitcoin, I'll send you $10 worth of Bitcoin. You have it in 5 seconds. You know,
And as you've mentioned Bitcoin, this is what I wanted to ask you. So I've had a guest on before who talks about the real Bitcoin, and it's not the
yeah,
Bitcoin that's at $102,000 dollars right now.
yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
Okay. So do you agree with that?
Yes, I agree with that.
And
Yeah.
so do you? Do you believe that? Because I think that was the last time I looked at BSV. I think it was something like $53 a coin. Do you believe that that's going to go through the roof this year?
It has to have a surety. If they use our coin to assure it, it will go through the roof. If they do not create a surety and the balance of what the asset is, not using fiat coins, not using all this other made up hypothetical coins, it needs stability like land, gold, diamonds, which everything comes to the table with the balance of the Turon coin. If you use it as fuel for your asset, then I see it going through the roof. But other than that, no.
Okay, so I don't understand it. I'm not particularly,
Yes,
but he
I
talked about,
understand. Like, say you have a car, right? You buy a car, you take it off the lot, it loses a certain amount of liquidity. It loses, it like crashes. It like goes through. You've been $35,000 on a car, and now all of a sudden it's worth 12 grand. You know, if you want to trade it back in, so you have this other part of the debt end of it. Well, if you do not have the asset backing it's not going to be worth anything. You have to have assets. Like, say, for instance, one time in America, the actual dollar was based off of gold,
yeah,
gold standards. Well, we're just now it's based off of the reserve printing up paper whenever the government says to print it, and I think that's the same in England. That's been brought to me in many private conversations of like, gosh, they're going to go print more money, you know? So it's based off of nothing out there is really assured and bonded unless you have the proper paper trail. You can create all of these other fictitious things, but at the end, at the balance through due diligence, they have to have the balance of what it is. So if you say, I'm creating a new coin, well, okay, what's backing it? They better not say USDT or Bitcoin or whatever, because that's some 12-year-old in the basement talking. You're talking to me, I want to know what assets, what gold bars are in a locker at Brinks, and what's the number? Has it been cut? I send a private investigator in to look. I look at the land survey. You got to have your assets together. And that's what Belton was beautiful in doing.
yeah,
And you got to really understand this is very secure. And when I talk with some of my banking counterparts in Germany and England and Italy, they were like, wow, what was he think? That was such a good idea that really cuts and separates all the other people claiming. And, you can have an AI trader for you, but really, what is the AI trader doing if it doesn't know how to check the balances of the asset? I
yeah.
mean, you have to have balance.
Okay. Okay. So, in terms of the World Marshal Authority, do you know how many people are currently employed, stroke working for the World Marshal Authority? You mentioned thousands of marshals around the world, but in terms of the big vision and what you guys are trying to achieve, how big's the organization?
To be honest with you, I am not in the personnel department. So I really don't know. And that's a meeting that we have not had. I just know I meet them all over the world.
Yeah.
They're even in China, Korea, Philippines. They're all over Africa. They're all over the United States. They're all over, England. Where the uniformity of that is a question I can research and get back to you.
Yeah.
Um, that's something I don't know. But me, I meet everybody every day. They have a banking questions, and I'm not afraid. I am not an attainable person. I mean, I am a person that you can get access to. I can check things out. There's a lot I can do. I can make the stability of a situation balance if somebody's trying to do something. Because everybody wants to act like they're the alpha and the omega, but really you're missing some pieces. Nobody's going to pay attention to you. I bring in the pieces to make it work, and that's how it goes with our organization, our family, our tribe, however you want to call it. The World Martial Authority is a unit, and we work together. We understand who the chief is. We understand who the chief justice is. We understand who the commanders are. We understand, and if anything that has anything to do with banking has to go through my department. So, and my department has fact checkers, everything you can think of. We have the whole history of the judge that ruled on it. We know we get very deep in what we do. Um,
And what do you mean the
so,
piece that ruled on it?
well, if let's just say, for instance, that you have, how do we say it, common folk, common people, common that don't have access to billions and trillions of dollars, go up against a major law firm and they get a ruling. We dig through the paperwork of that ruling to find out if the evidence was brought to the judge was correct and true. I think most law firms lie to get their point across. It's like a politician, so you have to really balance what they're saying and what the evidence is. And I think that's hard for a jury to get to the bottom of. And
Mm.
that's hard for a judge because the judge is trying to listen to everything. So we don't really blame the judges in this. What we blame is if somebody does not, it seems like in society all around the world, just because somebody says something doesn't make it true, but that's why they attack everybody on social media. Oh, this person says this or this person says that. Oh, it's got to be true. Look at their standing or look at this. Well, you got to look at the situation. It's the facts. It's not what somebody says. You have to look at the facts and the facts to where, and sometimes if the person that got sued by this huge law firm or got complacent, well, maybe it was the truth. And so there's nothing we can do for them at that point. I mean, or unless, Commander Lee and Belton says, hey, let's help them out financially. Let's figure out a way to get them out of that and get their mind out of the situation. So we're not a end all policy type of organization. We're not. We're one of those type of people that we look at everything. And I don't know how else to put that.
Yeah. So that's what I was going to say. So there's obviously different facets to the
Yeah.
organization. The bonded authority, Lee prefers it to be called. Um, so you have obviously the finance side of it, which you're very heavily involved in. You then have the law and order side of it, which is where you've mentioned corruption and taking people to task quite a
Yeah.
bit already. So there's that whole facet of, and I know because I've had a conversation myself with Honourable Lee and General Belton about the possibility of, arresting the corruption, having a place to put them once they've been arrested, having our own common law, fair law system that we don't have at the moment because it's very much against the
Well,
common.
it's very close. I look for it to be very close here within a short period of time. I think that everything is moving towards that direction.
In America and the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think the balance it's got to happen,
yeah,
you know. And there's really nothing they can do with the World Martial Authority once we get going. There's not anything that can stop us. We're our own nation, so
yeah.
it's almost like the Knights of Templar type of thing. You really can't do anything with them. They're with their own situation. You
Okay.
know,
And
you
obviously you've got
know.
the projects like the 50,000 houses, and obviously I'm guessing there's going to be other projects as well. So is that
Oh
another
yeah, I can't
idea?
wait to do it in England. I want to come there. My family came from England in the 1700s, the early 1700s. And I would like to just go and visit the whole between Ireland and Scotland and England and definitely Welsh. Uh, I think I'm going to get some property there in Welsh. Lee has got it set up for me to so I could come there and and have some fun with some sheep, raise them. You know,
Yeah,
we were pretty big sheep farmers. My dad was in the United States. He had let go into the market and buying and selling everything. So it's just it's amazing to be a part of all of that.
yeah.
Um, you know,
And what else is in the pipeline for you? I mean, that's a lot anyway, what we've already spoken about. But if you've got any other ideas or dreams that are bubbling up for what can be implemented in the future?
I think once it's implemented in the future, that each city or state, whether it be in England or the United States or Canada or wherever, that they have a common sense court, common law court, UCC1, which that's what we are, Universal Commercial Code. Um, each one of them recognizes that court and understands the validity of it. We're already working on the balance of, you know, the jailing system, the turret system, once people are served. Uh, Working with the sheriff's departments throughout the United States, and I know Lee's working hard on that in England as well. So it's a basic balance of all parties working together for something to be clear. Enough of the false prosecution, enough of the false going over the country's laws and just destroying them and putting people out of their homes is a complete nightmare for me. I just like, I can't believe after reviewing it, I lived in a happy little world of taking lines of credit and balancing back and forth between banks. And then once I started dodging into this, I was like, oh my goodness, I just can't even believe this. And that has to get corrected. So the way to do that is through publicity. Uh, uh, um, you know, Creating information, uh, the balance of it, making sure that people get the true information.
Hmm.
So,
And are you able to speak to the voucher side of things? Like,
yes.
yeah, because
Mhm.
you're aware of a group of people that Honourable Lee's been in touch with over here in England, very much involved in helping people not lose their houses, um,
Yeah.
and even taking them back because we've seen such collusion with the police in this country
Yeah. It's
and
crazy.
and the bailiffs. Yeah, and I know it's happening in Canada as well. I'm
Mhm.
probably elsewhere, but it's unbelievable what we've been seeing. And
Yes.
Honourable Lee has alluded to these vouchers being able to be used in the banks, but probably at quite a larger level, not just individual houses or whatever. So can
It's
you?
actually it's
Oh,
actually currency from the United States based off of Belton's land. A voucher is a payment system. It's actually United States money, or if we want to turn it into Turon, it's what it is. Um, the balance of the voucher is straight cash. So it comes from his bank, his private bank, and it goes into the financial system as cash. It's very hard for people to understand uh, unless you're in this world of dealing with credit and balance, SBLCs, MTMs, a balance of uh, as hypothetical paper as opposed to real paper. Real paper is justice of cash. So that's the balance of it. So it's very hard for people to be educated on that. And I've seen the mass confusion that's going on, and people demanding that it almost sounds like a bunch of 12 years old in the basement going back and forth. That I really wish that if they want to get educated on it, get educated on it. Let's help you out with it. We're not, I work so much during the day, I don't have time to argue, but I got, I can help.
mm,
Okay. I mean, I was raised in a different type of a banking situation. Besides taking a voucher to a bank teller and saying, "Hey, here, cash this out." No, that's not going to work. No, it has to. It has to have certain codes that come from like your central bank that's going to be lodged into it, and then I infuse those codes, and then it becomes active in their account and pays off the debt. Same thing here in the United States with us, and it is a balance of understanding, not argumentative. It,
Oh
it
yeah.
either it's either your bank accepts it, and if they don't, well, let's find out why. That's a me kind of thing. That's when Lee says, "Hey, Jim, we got to work with this banker. Can you kind of find out why?" And we have a legal department. We have all these things that work towards common law, and we get the balance straight for that bank. And it's if they don't accept it, they get served.
Okay.
It's either, and what I mean by served, there are fees that can be implemented in there for the person that we're trying to save, and well, the bank will have to pay it, or we assume the bank, and now we own a bank. So you know, it's towards how the balance works. Um, if I'm coming to you with cash and you deny my cash, is it because why? You have certain liberties in your country, as well as we do, that protect the consumer. And if they deny real currency, is it because you don't like me, my organization, my indigenous status? What is it? What is it that you are not accepting to do business with the tribe, the world martial authorities, the courts? What, what is it? So there's questions that need to be, and if they don't understand it, well, okay, it'll cost you close to just a minimum fee of not understanding it, close to $350,000. It's very balanced. Like I said, the World Martial Authority is its own nation.
So,
And
so Belton has his own bank,
yes,
and the assets that is backing the currency is the land.
oh, yes, yes, it is his land.
And your job is to convince the banks to accept the currency, if that's what you're calling it,
Well, I don't have to convince them. Either they accept it or, goes to court.
or it goes to
Pretty
court.
simple.
Yeah.
Goes to simple.
And it was a question I asked her HL the other day, and he said he was going to do some digging and come back to me. But just while I've got you on,
Uh-huh.
if you were to use say, let's use an example. Say I've got four mortgages, yeah,
Hmm.
all with different banks, right?
Yeah.
Let's say we've got a bank over here, Birmingham Midshires, sorry, a mortgage company called Birmingham Midshires. Now,
Okay.
I'm assuming that Birmingham Midshires, when I pay my mortgage, it doesn't go into a Birmingham Midshires bank account. It would go into whoever they use as their banking system, which might be Barclays or HSBC, for example. Would that be a right assumption?
Well, close. It depends who owns the bond on that mortgage. Who is the bond owner? Because it creates something called a certified CMO. It is I think it's certified mortgage. Now all of a sudden I blank. It's certified mortgage optimization or structure, and each one of the mortgages are rated within that bond. There are the negative end where people have trouble paying their mortgages on time, and the people that pay their saints, they're whatever. But it's put into a bond, and who owns that bond? You buy that, the mortgage is free. So it has really nothing to do with your banks. It has to be who owns that instrument, which is a highly rated instrument in England. So if you go in you're a bank and you went you got your mortgage through that bank, and yes, you make your payments through that bank, well, your bank might not own that mortgage.
Right.
There's a little bit of research that needs to go into that.
And in that bond, could there be multiple mortgages in one bond?
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. But what we would do is we'd come in and buy the whole bond.
Right.
So, but if you got four of them, okay, there's a little bit of research that we got to come in and bring them into an action plan to where we would say, okay, well, this bond is rated a certain way, and that bond is rated a certain way. We might get a discount. See, if there's a strategy during the whole thing, and this is really higher level stuff. This is not like walking into the bank and saying, "Hey, I want to buy out my mortgage."
No.
Well, they say, "Well, I have to figure out what that final payment is." They really can't answer that question for you on the spot. They have to, I'll get back to you, or, take 10, 15 minutes and then communicate back and forth electronically. But the safest way to do it is buy out the whole bond. But if you don't have that kind of money, then that's when you would get a hold of Lee, and Lee would say, "Hey, look, we have the structure of this situation, what's going on, and we own a group of mortgages now," which is really not good business practices because we don't want anybody to have any debt. We'll probably be really lenient with people
Mm.
and say, "Ooh, we're giving you a Christmas present." Yeah. I mean, the heart of Lee and the heart of Belton is we're all intertwined together like that, you know. So our job is to free the debt for real, not talk about it.
Just as a slight aside, do you have much knowledge around promissory notes in as much as
Yes.
yeah, in as
Yeah.
much as people are self-certifying their promissory notes, giving them to the bank to try and pay off mortgages or pay off other debts or whatever, and obviously being denied that. And what's your knowledge on promissory notes and why the banks say,
Well, what is backing the promissory note?
mm,
Just your words.
yeah, signature, yeah,
What is your signature value? Is it done the same way here off of your birth certificate where they create a bond and show you on the market like they do in the US?
yeah, exactly,
Well, you need to know the value of that signer so I can infuse it with enough stability. And if the bank denies that, then we've got a real problem. The bank is, or the courts has a real problem at this point. Then, then the judge is liable, or the judge can go with handcuffs. They get a nice set of Tiffany silver bracelets to
mhm,
a jail cell. So, you have to have a solid reason to deny somebody of saving their home and their property. The balance is shifting towards common law.
yeah.
It is. It's a very structural system, you know.
And I've got a bit of a joking question to ask you from my partner right now, who basically
Okay.
could Donald Trump stop the World Martial Authority?
Could he what?
Stop the World Martial Authority. Not that he'd want to, but could he?
No.
No.
No leader of any nation could. You know, there's no way. If there's been a malfeasance done on an individual and they contact us and we work with them, that particular person, I'd hate to say it, could be arrested. You know, you have to be very careful if you're a leader of a nation and you have created problems. There is an extreme amount of balance that is finally coming back. Why would you go vote somebody in office and they don't do anything that they say they're going to do?
Mm.
We don't have to worry that with Trump. Man, he's kicking butt and taking names. He's not even playing around. But in reality, what you want is and what Belton and Lee have done, and me by accident, I just happened to be dealing with the World Bank, and I was going in and say, "Hey Jim, that's that's the nation's own currency." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah, you don't have to answer to anybody." I said, "That's the balance." I said, "Wow." I said, "Okay." So that put my mind in a different thing. But what their job is to take um, the, well, how do I say this? There seems to be a trend with England and the United States and Canada that law firms and judicial system are working together to create a balance of money no
Yeah.
matter what happens. And the people they hurt voted that judge in office.
Mm.
It's kind of a sticky situation. And I happen to make quite a few fair, unbelievable good judges here in the United States. And I really don't know the legal system in the UK. Um, I've experienced the legal system in Canada, and I got on a flight scratching my head for 5 hours back to Indianapolis, going, "What just happened?" I was just like totally blown away. Um, I don't believe it's anytime soon that you will see um, how do I say it, chivalry type of such a change that could happen when judges want to judge properly. If they don't have the proper information, how can they judge?
Yeah.
If they have one sided and the other side is not allowed to speak, you know, properly.
Yeah.
And if it goes to a jury trial, the jurors cannot hear all sides of the story. They're only hearing one side of the story. There needs to be a balance.
Yeah.
And I think people in the housing market, they need a balance. These restrictions, there's people getting paid off of it, right and left, whether it be the credit reporting agencies, the people that it costs to do the credit reports, there's fees for everything. And you got to have a certain down deposit. Well, you're not going to pay anything for these houses we build, whether it be in England or the United States or Canada. You're going to pay your right when you walk in the door. You're paying $500. That's it. You're not paying. We're going to build the whole thing, get you your car, the whole 9 yards. You just got to pay insurance, taxes, and that's your utilities, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, so
Okay.
and
So,
that's the way we're kind of doing the whole thing.
yeah.
I'm just using the houses as an example, but say you want a new car or something like that. You say, hey, look, I want to go buy this. Well, we generally will go purchase the car and you would make the payments to us. We become your bank. You see, that's how we handle it. And if it's an expensive car payment and you're paid twice a month, well, we'll make arrangements. I don't know why I'm coughing all of a sudden, but there you go.
So how do people benefit from this? Do people have to become indemnified within the
No,
no.
no, I think we're working on some sort of earth thing to, treat your neighbor like you want to be treated yourself. Be upstanding in your community or something like that. I don't know the whole legal ramifications, but it's going to be simple. And I'm talking like we're 3 weeks away from announcing all of our ways and system. So
Okay.
there's a awful lot of legal back end stuff and banking back end stuff and all kinds of things going on that I'm not privy to talk about. But
Sure.
that's and it's like I got on your group chat and there was a nice gentleman and I said, well, tell me your problem. And he says, well, the judge took my property and this and that. And I said to him, I said, look, I need the details. I need the court case file and I need to know how to serve whoever did this. And I don't think they quite understand. If something was done wrong and I look at the court case, man, I don't care what the fees were. We come in and we serve that court and they have to deal with it. They're going to be on every credit reporting agents, Moody's. They're not going to have a good rating on their bond in their community. We we're not here to make them happy. We're here to make the person that had the problem happy. That's what we do.
Yeah.
We protect the people.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. Um, I might be needing your help soon myself, Jim. But if somebody,
Well, that's what we're for.
yeah,
That's what we're for,
I'm
you know?
currently in my own court battles at the moment, and so it's going to be interesting to see how it goes.
Have you discussed it with Lee?
Not in any great detail, no.
Yeah, you need to have a sit down with him. Sit down with him and relax and go over everything. And he'll get me on the phone, and we'll get some other people on the phone. We'll all have like a group thing. And if they're doing you wrong, it's kind of hard to get. I mean, because if they don't pay it off in 30 days, that 350,000 goes to 10 million. And it goes bam, bam. I mean, it gets ugly. So, and they have no way of getting out of that unless they settle.
Okay.
They have to come back to you and say, okay, well, this is what we're offering. Make these psycho people go away. You
Yes,
know,
please. Yes, please.
yeah. So that's what we do. So, and I wore my funny shirt weekend because I always want every day to be the weekend in my brain when I start. So I always have all kinds of things. I have a little crest thing that says the weekend. I always want everybody to not think every day is unbearable.
Mm.
I want them to think, oh, this is a great day. So that's my whole premises of trying to be happy. I think we've had enough drama in life with finding out what people are doing to us. Now it's how do we structure it to where they don't do it.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely. Amen to that. Um, how would somebody, if somebody's watching, listening now, and they're loving the sound of all of this, and maybe want to work with or for the WMA, are you able to speak to that, or is that more of a HL and General Belton question?
no, that is a question that's easy answered by any world marshal person. You go to the website, it's worldmarshalauthority.live.
Yeah.
You send a note. There's probably an icon in there. You want to be a marshal. You send in what you know, because we have marshals for everything. Engineers, marshals for, you know, um, you name it. Paper, um, filing, all kinds of all the marshals for everything. So um, we we are not prejudiced on anything. If they want to become a marshal, let's find out why. Let's find out what their expertise are, and let's move them forward.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
that's a simple question.
Cool.
But,
Yeah, I know HL has mentioned that he's looking to recruit certainly in the UK very, very soon, which is
oh
quite
yeah,
like exciting.
can't wait to get over there. I want to have a little bit of fun, and I want to go to a famous pub and get kicked out. I'm gonna put it on TV. I want to have a ball.
What's the
I want to have
famous
a
pub?
ball. I don't know. I don't. I had nothing, no idea. I want to go into a pub and I want to talk to a couple of police officers on the side and say, "Hey, man, you gotta get me in trouble here. This is all for America. Let's just show how to have a good time in England." So I can't wait to bring open wheel racing uh, to England. Not Formula One. I'm talking about you know. Uh, there is a great history of English race car drivers and open wheel motorsports
Hmm.
from the United States. Why not bring some of that over there? I mean, it would be such a crazy event. It would be unbelievable when I'm done with it. So, and I want us to build homes over there. I was told that we could build flats like they're townhomes, kind of like deals. Um, I'm open for anything for us. And I think Lee has some ideas on that. So how that should be done over there, but because he's a builder as well. I think the whole world, everybody's a builder at heart, in their mind and soul. They want to provide something of quality to people. Can you imagine having a home and we're managing everything for them? And we even created an insurance policy saying that you're co-partners and you're living in a house, you got a family, and you lose your job. Well, we take over all the mortgages and stuff like that until you find a job. You don't have to go get a second mortgage for all that. We take care of everything. And or God forbid, your financial partner or your partner in general loses their life and any kind of tragic accident, we just turn over the title and deed to you and help you out while you're in the process of transition. So I mean, you've truly got to think about what it means to love your neighbor as you love yourself in this type of situation. And that's what we're trying to come across.
Yeah. Um, before I wrap this up, would the people that are in those houses, do they actually own it, or they're
Yeah,
yeah, they do own it.
yeah.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. It's their home. They just can't return over a $330,000 asset, and they were going to go sell it and go woo, woo,
Yeah,
woo,
sure. There's
you
conditions
know,
there. Yeah, okay.
yeah. I mean, it's theirs.
And if somebody wanted to follow you personally, are you on any of the social medias like Facebook or TikTok?
I'm everywhere. I'm allowed now. Yeah.
How can people
I
find
mean,
the handle?
I'm on TikTok as Jimmy Gandolf. I'm on X, Elon Musk, Jim Gandolf. Um, I have a site. It's called Jim Gandalf. It's called or it's Gandalf.com or Jim Gandalf.com. I don't really know what it is, but
I
it's
think
on
it's
those links I sent you.
jimgandalf.com. Yeah.
And I have my Facebook is Jim Gandalf Motorsports and 500 Miles to Book. The personal one on Facebook is just strictly for family and for nieces and cousins and nephews.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
there's I'm kind of everywhere, but it's been involved in racing since 1983. Done every horrible job you can think of in it, but where I woke up is I found out that that name on that side of that race car either manufactures a product and then it's got to get placed. That's how it creates the value of being in racing, not just by exposure, by being on the side of that race car. You have to create the funding, you have to create the balance, you have to move that product into the market. So that's when I woke up.
Yeah.
And that was in 1986.
Okay. Jim, it's been an absolute pleasure to spend this last hour or so with you. I always like to finish these conversations with anything you would like to finish up with, anything you feel called to share, any pearls of wisdom like that.
The pearls of wisdom that I would share is that think about something a moment before you get upset over it. If somebody's doing something to you and it's through a court system, understand the reason why. Don't take it personally. They're looking at it as business. And all they're trying to do is make their money.
Mm.
They'll assume your product, your property, it'll be sold, the auction companies, whatever the heck they got themselves tied into. Understand there's a balance to stop them from that. Understand there's a balance to, you know, arrest them for that if they're breaking the law. There is a balance to go after them. And take a deep breath a moment and put your focus together.
Yeah.
And that's what we're about, the balance. And it's great to be a part of it. When I finally caught restitution of what I was in the middle of, it literally took me hours to pull it together. That I was like, wow, I don't have to worry about that. I've got this library, I've got that, I've got this. Wow. All of a sudden I'm a prosecutor. All of a sudden I've served the documents. All of a sudden I get you if you're doing something to somebody. And I don't have to harm anybody. I don't have to get in any kind of physical altercation. It's just you've been served. Oh my gosh, the face goes white, you know? And a judge to think that he can't get served, trust me, That's the most humiliating and funny situation at the same time.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's going to make people wake up.
Yeah.
That's going to make people wake up. And if you think about it a moment, all these people out there, that all this system, the pandemic, really abused people and really put people in a wrong manner. You got to sit back a second and think, how do we organize ourselves to get the SOBs that did this?
Mhm.
That is the question, instead of, oh my gosh, we're going to lose this, we're going to lose that, this is going to happen. Take a step back a minute. And I put it out there on how the people to contact me on your chat thing. They can contact me. Just click on my thing and, you know, send me the reason why. Now, if you want to be argumentative and conversation, I'm not even going to respond.
No.
But if you have a situation, communicate with me. I'm fairly easy to get along with. I grew up in a big family with 7 boys and 5 girls, so that's huge. And either we get it together in conversation at dinner, or you got to suffer for weeks trying to get it together. You know, so that's how it is in our family. You either get it together, or you let your stomach eat you away, and oh, you got all these stomach pains because you just don't want to see that person at dinner. Well, I get hungry. I like to eat, so it is the way it is. So I feel in America we're going to be creating a balance with the farmers. There's a whole system here that is easily done in England as well as it's done here, and it's going to be very productive. Oh, thanks. So
Amazing. Okay.
So
All right. Well, thank you again, Jim. It's been an absolute pleasure. I do understand more now, so kudos to you. Thank you very much for making it easy for my simple little brain to understand.
Well, it was a pleasure meeting you. It was a pleasure meeting some of the people on your group chat. They've been very nice.
All right, Jim. Well, thank you again for your time. I know the viewers and the listeners are going to have really loved this chat, and I will drop the links in the show notes for people if they want to reach out or follow you.